WebEx as opposed to Zoom? Good. I can hear someone breathing a little bit, so if you guys wouldn't mind, if you're not participating in the conversation, if you wouldn't mind muting. There should be an option at the bottom of the WebEx screen.
Also mute everybody if you want me to do that.
I don't think that's necessary unless everyone starts screaming at each other.
Okay.
It doesn't happen. Hasn't happened yet. That I know of.
Yeah, and I'm still not seeing the agenda on.
Maybe I touched it.
Did you attach and just save?
Yeah.
That doesn't go to anyone.
Oh.
Sorry.
Hey, mute yourself, Carrie.
I was I was just going to ask a question though. If anyone calls in and doesn't have their WebEx turned on or whatever, can you just shoot me an email letting me know that you attended? Because it just says caller. But if you're if you have WebEx up and you had it call your cell phone, I see your name and everything. Does that make sense? Cool.
I saved it and sent out the update, so everyone should be getting the agenda.
Thank you.
Yeah, give it a second here. It blocked it for some reason, so I had to approve it.
Quite a few people on. I think looks like no one's having issues logging on. It might be a bit of a struggle, but if we want to try and do intros, we'll do the board first, just to keep it organized, and then try to do everybody else after that. My name is Evan Custer, IGIC chair, and I work at Casey's General Stores. And like everybody else, I'm working from home.
I'm BJ Covington. I am the vice chair, and I work for the Iowa Department of Transportation. And I'm also.
Hi, this is Heather Schaefer with City of Des Moines, the past chair.
This is Chuck. I'm the treasurer and I'm at Iowa State.
Hi, this is Paula Lemke, GIS coordinator for Sarasota County.
Hi, this is James Worm from Clay County.
Sean from Iowa DOT.
This is Greg Haddish with NRCS.
GIS facility.
This is Amy Sorensen with HDI.
McLean from the Center for Survey Technology, and I was
Carrie Lag with Casey's General Stores and the secretary.
Patrick Wilkie Brown, CIO, State of Iowa.
Iowa DOT.
Travis Garish, Franklin County.
Debbie Stevens, education representative from Indian Hills and William Penn.
John DeGrow from UNI Geotree Center.
Is that everybody?
There's a lot in the chat, so I think people are just are staying muted.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thanks everybody. Hopefully everyone's doing well. I assume pretty much everyone's working from home. Are many of you
No.
working? Who said no?
Paula. Yeah.
Still going in?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the office every day.
Are most of the county people going in, sounds like?
No, for most offices, it's half the people so that everyone can be at, the social distancing. So half work at home 1 week and then they're in the office the next. But since I was already gone for a month, then I just get to be here all the time. And I'm in the vault. I mean, my office is literally in the vault, so.
Germs are either sealed in or sealed out.
They better be sealed out.
Well, thanks everybody for joining. I assume everyone's okay with the agenda. I got some feedback from people as far as items to include, but if there's anything else, time at the end where we can add something, or if in the text box or bring it up at some point if you want to add something to one of the scheduled items. And last week, or at the last IGIC meeting, Patrick had brought up the idea of little lunch and learns, which we never followed through on that. I didn't get any suggestions, so I didn't put it on the agenda, but this morning I was thinking willing just to commit for May 1st. It's a Friday. If we want to do a Friday half-hour lunch and learn, we'll get some people to do presentations, and at this time of WebExing, I'm doing for as much social interaction as possible. So if in the next week people want to reach out to me for something they want to talk about for 10 minutes, we'll try and get 3 of them on the books and just have a little half-hour lunch and learn. Anybody, I can't imagine anybody has any problems with that.
What might be helpful, could we get everyone to include what software and databases that you're working with and identify some.
Who is that speaking?
This is Tracy McLean from Iowa State.
Yeah, let's see. From where did you say? Iowa City?
Iowa State.
Okay, sorry. I'll reach out to you, Tracy, and we can talk about what would be helpful. Sound good?
Okay, sounds great.
I assume some people would be interested in that.
Yes.
Okay, good. A short notice, we'll try and keep them short. So just a half hour overall and hopefully 3 10-minute little presentations. So that wasn't on the agenda. Next item is we have upcoming elections, which will take place. Josh, if you want to remind me, they're between our summer meeting and our fall, or are they at the summer meeting?
I think they're between now and.
Oh, okay. So then we would have the positions filled by the summer meeting, ideally.
Yeah, and I believe the last time we knew the results in time for ITAC, so I believe elections are probably in May. I have to double check some dates.
Okay, because I was thinking that the positions switch at the fall meeting, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, the positions, changeover is at the fall meeting, but we have the elections.
Before the summer.
Or is it the other way around? Yeah.
Usually during May.
Okay. So we'll have those elections coming up soon. And the way, for anybody who doesn't know, the way the chair positions work are there's a becomes the chair, and then the chair becomes the past chair. So Heather was chair last year, or last iteration of IGIC maybe, and I was the past chair, and now BJ is, my screen just went blank. BJ is vice chair, so next year he'll be the chair, which means that we'll need to find somebody who's hopefully willing to be vice chair, so that in 2 years they'll be the chair of IGIC. That board position will be open filled by a board member, and then all the board seats are up for election also.
And there's 2 protected board seats. That's you and BJ, chair and vice chair. Roll over.
Okay. And I think we have.
Question. This is Heather.
Go for it, Heather.
I'm not planning on being on the board again, so do I need to throw that out there? There will be a city opening or municipal board member opening.
That's good to know. And I think usually it just happens when outside of conversations. I don't think there's anything official other than not throwing your hat in the ring during the election process.
Okay, great. Well, I am not going to put my hat in the ring. So yeah, if people would be interested, however you guys usually handle that, take it.
Yeah, well, we need to talk to Adam Skibby. He kind of spearheaded it before and has the process figured out. And I believe he just asked for nominations. So,
Adam, do you happen to be on the call? I didn't hear your name. Sounds like a no. Yeah. Okay. So as that election process, if anybody is willing to be or interested in being the vice chair next year, reach out to anybody on the board or reach out to us, or if you're just curious about the position or curious about involvement or anything like that, feel free to reach out to any of us. And if you, go ahead. I thought I'd heard someone talking. Then outside of that, if anybody's on the board, hopefully you do. If anybody's interested in being on the board, or if you know somebody who it might help them with either professional development or networking, or just supporting the geospatial community, feel free to reach out to anybody to be a part. And Josh, I'm not sure, the screen kind of grayed out for me. I'm not sure if everybody else can see the agenda or
I can't see it either.
No,
Yeah,
it's messed up.
I'm having some. I keep getting network issue messages, so.
Oh, really?
Do
Yeah.
you want us all to just shut off our video? Just to help the bandwidth?
It sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, let me see. I should
Oh, there it goes.
There it is.
see. Yeah. But I'll shut everybody's video off. I just have to figure that out.
People want to voluntarily turn off their video, that might help too.
Yeah, I can see. Oh, now it's all gone.
Yeah, I stopped sharing so I could take. I don't remember. I saw it earlier and I don't remember where it went now.
It should be up in the view.
View.
And then show or hide meeting controls. Yep, there you go.
Okay, I think we're good.
Okay. Micah, I just saw your message. Was how will people submit their interest? Was that about participating in the Lunch and Learn in 2 weeks or about the elections?
I guess I can actually answer with a mic instead of typing. It's about elections, but I heard the discussion. It sounds like Adam will probably send something out.
Or somebody will, but we'll just get his info.
Yep, I'll just look for the email.
Okay. All right. So Adam will hopefully spearhead that again this year. Make a note. Okay. Treasurer's report. Josh, do you have any new information? It leads into the site license topic, so you can blend them if you'd like.
Yep.
Do we need to approve the agenda? I motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second. This is Paula.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, batting 1,000 already. Good.
So I can't seem to share certain parts of my computer. So what we're at now is our current balance is $38,958.02. Since the last meeting in January, we've only had 2 items. I had to renew the website, so that was $34. And then we had the $10,191 from, which was the deposit from our share of ITAG last year. So we're sitting really well there. However, it was voted on to cover the portion of the site license that is going to be left over from schools leaving. So there'll be a chunk of that will be going towards the site license.
Okay.
And so then I guess that leads into the site license. So currently, I had said that I expected 3 to 4 schools to leave the site license. Currently, we are up to 6, with still needing to hear from 3. I think it's 6. And I think part of that, they don't use the license, like the number of licenses to, or for the software to satisfy what they're paying, that's into ours. And those, the 3 department licenses at that price, and it's too hard to pass up for some of the smaller schools. Plus, given the budget issues that a lot of the schools are going to be facing now, the ones I heard from mid-March, I think that probably played into part of that factor. And so, I'm probably going to try to negotiate the cost of the site license with Esri, given the number of schools that are have come out. I mean, I think that what we told the schools for costs shouldn't change, unless it absolutely had. I will punch some numbers and send it out to the board after the meeting. I apologize for not having that now, as to what it would cost the board right now, or the organization right now. So I will and keep you up to date with that. I told the schools to let me know by May 1st. If I don't hear from them, then I'm going to drop them out. I've contacted them about 4 times since the start of February. So.
Josh?
Yeah.
This is Paula. I'm wondering if things might change there a little bit, as there is forming a national GIS pandemic task force, and a lot of things are going out with how important GIS is to what's going on now. And because all the schools and everyone else is affected by COVID, some of that might come back, that the schools are needing more GIS at all the levels in all the different areas of study. As they're seeing the dashboards, as they're using the dashboards, there's so many GIS influences everywhere. So I just wanted to bring that up to keep it in mind, because right now people are making weird decisions, I think, since at least the middle of March. And some of those decisions are already changing. And so what I'm really saying is this might be a really bad time for them to make the decision on whether or not to have licenses.
But I'm not sure what can we really do?
Right. Because when is it owed? When does Esri need to be paid?
Esri's going to have to be paid probably because the license turnover is in August, and there needs to be time to be able to, on their end, to get the licenses created and everything. So.
Right, and so it might be worth reaching out to Esri, because they're probably looking at some of that too. Like maybe it would be pushed off from August to September or November, whatever. A couple. I would just hate for 9 schools to come in August and say, yeah, we want the license. And we say, sorry, you blew your chance.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be that they blew their chance. I mean, we'd figure out, we'd be able to do that. It's just the change from being on the site license to the department license. That is more difficult after they would have, after the payments were made. So the fact that no payments have for the next license year, it's now is the time to do that part.
Right. Yeah, I wanted to throw that out. I didn't want to make your job any more difficult by any means. It's just with some of the things that I've seen going across my desk the last couple of days. I'm like, holy buckets.
Yeah.
So educators, like a lot of the top people in the colleges are working with their county EMA, for instance. So they're seeing some other things. And I just think some decisions, and this may be one of them for site licenses, that just might be one. Just throwing it out there. I'm not saying wait, but keep your ears open.
Yeah, no, yeah, and it's a good idea I'll ask Esri I can ask them about if there was anything that they've heard on their end on delays or anything like that. Because, even if once we get the bill out, to get the money from the schools and everything, right now our postal service on campus is, wonky at best as to what to get stuff. So, so there's a lot of difficulties involved with this right now.
And I assume,
yeah.
I think I have the most recent email cost information that we had discussed, Josh, from late January. And the cost for the smaller schools or universities is around $1,500.
Yeah.
And so if we have 6 schools currently dropping off, and we're either covering the cost of those 6 schools in the hopes that they sign back up next year and pay, it's versus negotiating the overall price that we're getting charged by Esri. It could be quite a difference in.
Yeah, so because the reason why I mentioned the renegotiation, and Evan, you were really quiet on the speaking there. The fact, the discussion I had with Esther Worker, who is a higher up in the education department of Esri, is normally what they do is they take like a half value of the value that a school would have individually based on their enrollment. And this was all stuff I mentioned when this was all rediscussed. And so if you take our schools that have said yes, and include the ones that haven't said anything at all yet, we're at that half value added up is less than what we're paying Esri now. So it would make sense to renegotiate at least to that cost, and if we could get lower than that, that'd be wonderful. But if we could get down to that cost at least, it would help out. And but they said they didn't want to negotiate at all until we find out for sure, about those last 3 schools, so we know for a fact how many schools are going to be on, which makes sense to me. So, but I've at least put it in their ear that we would like to renegotiate the cost.
This is John DeGrode. I just want to, emphasize. I think that's the important part about negotiating with Esri, and I'm sure they'll be aware, but there's a lot of dire projections, and I know UNI is quite afraid of enrollment going down quite a lot this fall.
Oh yeah, I know that there's discussions here that the budgetary stuff is all worried, and a lot of these schools are small private schools that don't have the public funding ability per se that at least the 3 major ones and some of the community colleges would have. So that's the update there. Like I said, I'll keep everybody in touch as to where that's proceeding.
Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing someone saying that there were some. I was quiet, and I'm guessing I was just directing my voice towards my.
You're still a little
really
bit quiet.
You're still quiet. I was going to ask though, Josh, when Evan's talking, can you mute you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because I think it's bringing up your breathing, which like no, which is fine, but it's taking you as the primary speaker and Evan as background noise.
Okay, I will make sure I mute myself.
Thank you.
Thanks for that, Josh. Am I a little bit more clear now, hopefully?
Nope, you're still real quiet.
Carrie, do you happen to know where the microphone is on our laptops?
You're sounding better already.
Yeah, it sucks. So if you do you have a headset on or do you
Headset, but I'm speaking
so
into the computer.
yeah, so pick it up and put it like wherever the sound goes in and just put it towards your face.
Or no, I mean like I just have earbuds in, not not a headset with a
Yeah.
microphone.
Yeah, so I would just lean in towards the camera, and since we can't see you, we can't see up your nose, so it should be okay.
Turn the camera on. It's surprising me. I'm going to be upset. So Adam joined the conversation, and we're going to swing back real quick just to elections. Adam, do you happen to know what the time frame is on elections as far as in relation to the spring and fall meeting? Adam Skibby?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I don't recall the time frame. I do apologize for that. And given that I just learned here a few minutes ago that I was tasked with spearheading this, I will take some time today, basically before the weekend, and dig back through and try to come up with something, a timeline, outline, whatever / tasks that we need to accomplish to make sure that this stuff gets advertised and people understand what we're working with.
Okay, thanks, Adam. I'll contact you next week for us to send out an update to the IGIC board.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll put that on my list. Like I said, I think accomplished in the next couple of days. So come Monday or Tuesday, I should be ready to chat.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Adam. And Anya just said, wrote me in, you guys are following good. Okay, next up is the IGIC or ITAG conference. Matt Boyk, are you in on the call?
Yeah, this is Josh. I'll discuss it. So after many conversations with the ITAG committee, it was discussed there that we would try to call the conference for this year and tack on another year onto our contract. We can't strictly just go out and cancel because of the fact that the governor has not placed restrictions through June through the conference time. We cannot cancel essentially and be there. It would cost $60,000 or more to just straight up cancel without that. So it was suggested that discussed to do this with adding on the extra year onto the end of the contract as kind of a goodwill gesture that we still want to be around there, but just that this year is not going to work. The two people that we mostly work with at the hotel there are essentially laid off right now. So I'm trying to get a hold of the general manager, and finally he got back to us. He wanted us to just go ahead and reschedule. However, they don't have any dates in August, September, October. So he wanted us to go like late November, December, which of course, yeah, that's not going to work out. And then he came back and said, well, can you reschedule on these days, which encompassed full weekends? We said, no, that's not going to work either. And so finally, Matt put his foot down with the guy and said, this is how it's going to be. And so we should have a final answer by Friday as to whether we can go that route or not. So as of right now, the conference is still on. We'll know for sure, hopefully by Friday. So yeah, that's been fun trying to play tag with him.
So, may I ask a question?
Yeah.
So, if everything is returned to normal mid-May, would we still be opposed to having the conference? I mean, like, and I understand for planning purposes, it would just be easier to put it on hold or cancel or whatever, but
This is Adam Skibby. First off, I think that's like a 0.01% chance, based on everything that's coming out continuously about social distancing and whatnot. Secondarily, yeah, I don't think there's any chance of doing that. Just like you said, from the planning standpoint. I mean, what's the point of putting all this effort in with such a small chance that we'll actually be able to go through with it?
Yeah, no, and I understand, but like, yeah, never mind. It's okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, and that's been the, you know, and I know you may have been on some of those, the discussions within the committee calls. It's just, you know, everybody is just, you know, we're in a weird situation now where, you know, there's, you know, all ideas are kind of out there, but they're also, you know, all the positives and negatives on all the sessions are just everywhere. So
Have you considered holding it as a kind of like we're doing now as a WebEx or some type of?
Yeah, so if the conference is canceled, then we would attempt to try to do a one day in a virtual conference. You know, there'd be no cost. We'd try to get speakers in to do, you know, people to do, you know, half-hour presentations or such like that. I mean, we would do something just to try to at least have everybody get together. It just wouldn't be face to face, but you know, we're kind of, you know, at the hand of the hotel and of the governor, because I mean, those are the two deciding factors. You know, we're kind of stuck.
Hey,
decided.
Josh and Matt, if you're on, this is Adam again. I just wanted to say, I think you get, I think the advertising and theme for this year was perfect. And you know, if we've got the Revenge or Return of the Zombies next year, I mean, you can keep the same theme, right? Like,
the theme, the
Return of the Dead.
That was already discussed. The theme would stay for next year. Matt and I would stay on as chairs for next year already also. Okay. So, I mean, we've got the plan kind of in, you know, the starting plan in place for.
The zombies were like, it was meant to happen anyway, right? So.
Yeah, I think that was all Matt's idea. So it was he's the one that jinxed everybody for it.
Uh-oh.
Matt.
I was going to volunteer. So if we do virtual, I will volunteer my husband, whether he's willing or not, to help you guys or to help us put something virtual together. It's like what he does. And so we can probably use some resources from his expertise if that helps. Just he's used to doing virtual conferences of a couple thousand people or more.
Yeah, well, you know, if that's the situation when that comes around, we'll be in touch to try to figure out stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Josh, I have a question about the hotel. You said that Matt told him that we wanted to postpone or sorry, tack on a year to the end of our contract and that he would get back to you. What was his reaction, and did he have to talk to higher ups, or what was his consideration without just saying yes?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
He's, and I wish I had a better answer.
That's okay. Any answer.
He just said that his quote was, "We are looking into the option of just adding the event in 2024 to replace 2020. So please give us some time to see the opportunity to make this change." So
okay,
corporate speak, that's
optimistic though. I mean,
I wonder if there was something specific he was getting at, but it sounds like he's just putting it off for a little longer.
From his view, he doesn't want it canceled. They want the money.
Oh, I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, that's.
But if they don't even have people there who can help with the planning stuff, look at how long it took you to get a hold of the person who is actually still working there. I don't know. I'd say that goes a little bit against the contract. Reduce it from 63,000 down to 40 right there, just on that. And I'm sure we can find out more ways to reduce what we would owe.
Yeah, and I mean, and we contacted somebody with ISAC and had them look over the contract to get some legalese opinions on options.
So like the force majeure or whatever, which is probably going to be changing in their rules upcoming. Just going back to like my husband's conferencing activities, everything that they had scheduled for the entire year going through next January, they were able to cancel using force majeure as well. So, even though just because you can't plan and they don't have the resources. So by default, the conference can't happen even if it was scheduled to happen.
Yeah, well, and and we're under contract for a few more years, so we kind of gotta at least somewhat try to.
Yeah, you want to stay on good terms. I get that, but
but no, I mean, the can't really play that card, and until it probably gets closer. Yeah,
I get that, but I just wanted to let you know that it is happening elsewhere based on just unable to be able to plan because it's ruining multiple businesses, not just one, but
yeah.
Anyway, thank you for what you've been doing. You and Matt, thanks for putting your foot down, Matt.
I think I'll say a couple words here. I think Josh and I tried the good cop, bad cop approach, and then I think we ended up both being bad cop. But we just the thing that kind of stinks is that guy they're working with is Brandon doesn't know our organization at all. So that's why he was throwing in weekends and also November, December, and he just didn't know anything about us, which is kind of challenging. And his emails are pretty quick. They're one sentence, so it's not like we're really we really know what's going on there as well. So it's just been kind of challenging all around, but hopefully we'll have an answer on Friday.
It was kind of interesting looking at charts and predictions on the website that who sent that out, Nate. One of the things that's going to be funny is so everything ends up closed till June 1st. That's not going to help with our date for the conference anyway. So, plan for close and no one pays anything. So that's what you guys have to talk them into, bad cops, both of you.
Yeah.
Bad cops. Talk them into it.
People think that not planning for the conference this year is a good idea, though, right? Except for the virtual thing, I still think that's a good idea, a one-day virtual thing. But as far as the 3-day face-to-face meeting, I mean that's That's going to be pretty unlikely to happen. I think it's kind of, I don't know, it's hard for people to sign up. No one wants to sign up for the conference because they all have their own COVID-19 concerns. So, that's challenging as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm just kind of getting the drift that
So
we think we're on the right path.
Yep.
The hardest part and the only bit left is to force the hotel into giving us what we want.
But that comment by Carrie is very helpful, though, that if people are using force majeure as a reason, then that's good to know, because, the governor hasn't made a decision for what's going to happen in June yet. And, that makes sense. But if they're using, it helps our case, I guess. It helps our argument.
Yeah, because on the other side, even if you have insurance for all kinds of weird things to go wrong that you cannot help, that you cannot hold your conference for, the insurance companies, for the most part, are saying no. That's not covered. This is like 9/11. Back then, there were a lot of things that were canceled because for a long time of everything that happened, insurance companies did not follow through. They said that this is not what's covered. So it's up to you. And that ended up being a lot of people had to pay a lot of money for events that were not held at all. Some insurance companies did hold up for it. But I already heard down in Oklahoma and Arkansas, they've already brought that up. They're doing it the same way as they did in 9/11. It's through no fault of the hotel or event center or whatever the place may be where the event was going to be held, and it's through no people who are planning it. So everybody just gets to follow the contract between you and the event center and pay your money. Okay? It's a lot of minimums. You don't have to pay the whole thing, but that's not a good thing. So this force
The difference,
majeure.
though, yeah, but the difference between now and then was there's other monies available to businesses struggling, because it's being set up in that way.
Uh-huh.
So you might not be able to use your conference money or your insurance money for it, but the hotel will still, assuming they do everything right, have some funds not from us. So if we're paying full price or whatever that case may be, they may be getting paid twice, which also isn't okay because of the disaster state that everyone's in. But
Right. Yeah. I just wanted to throw that out there, just that insurance, sometimes isn't working either.
yeah, well, and an act of God isn't covered by insurance, but
Oh yeah, you can buy extra insurance for act of God. Yeah.
well, yeah,
But that's what they're not. That's what they're not agreeing to right now. So.
What tithings are for, Paula? Is that what tithings are for? The extra insurance?
Absolutely, 2% of your 10%. Mm-hmm.
Well done, Evan.
Keep that in mind.
Hey Matt, you mentioned you'll know more this Friday. What's happening this Friday?
Well, we should get an email back from Brandon, the general manager at the Sheraton. He said he would get back by Friday, so hopefully he does. I guess. We'll have to find out.
And then we have a conference. We have a ITAG planning. Is it this Friday or next Friday?
It's this Friday.
Yeah.
So
As of
we know before then.
Yeah, as of now, that'll still happen. It's all dependent on, what his answer is probably.
So once we have the ITAG meeting, and we hear back from Brandon, should the IGIC members expect an email or something from us?
So yeah, we'll plan on. We will have to send out an email to both of the lists saying, that it's canceled. We'll have to send out refunds most for the ones that already. But Micah Van Manen said that's fairly easy on his end to do. We'll have to take care of the vendors also in that sense. And so, yeah, and then the board will have, technically, I think the board would have to approve the change to the contract, and then they have to somehow sign. And actually, James, as being president for ICIT, probably will have to also, is my guess. So there's a couple steps after a cancellation that would have to occur.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else on the?
BJ, I'm not sure if there would have to be a formal approval. I am just guessing that there would have to be.
I think, well, we voted on the contracts, so I would assume if we sign anything else, we'd have to vote on that too.
Yeah, and that's something that we could just throw up a Google poll real quick and get everybody's replies there.
I think you would have to have some sort of an agenda for the one-day virtual conference or whatever when the poll goes out, because, would you want to do it virtually? Like I would say, well, what's going to be done? Is it going to be some presentations? Is it going,
the fact that, I'm not sure if that would be feasible, just because we'd have to get approval quickly just to get the cancellation in, just so we could keep that ball rolling.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would say, regardless of whether it's held in person or virtual, as far as content goes, we'll still need participants and volunteers to present.
Yeah, and so, and we'll be, if that occurs, then we'll be in touch to try to figure that out. We already have some people that have already signed up to present, so we'd probably just start by contacting them first.
Anything else on the conference?
No.
On the agenda, next up we have how to keep sane during COVID-19, but I'm guessing that might be kind of it could turn into a long conversation. So BJ, if you're cool with it, we'll just jump up COVID volunteer project if you're.
Yeah. So a couple weeks ago, I contacted some of my former colleagues at HSCMD to see what was being done about coordination of information for non-essential, non-emergency assets around the state. I was informed that Patrick was also kind of working on something with Evan, so we all put our heads together to talk about maybe what we could do as an organization to support the communities in the state in different ways by getting disseminating information about that may not be considered or may not be able to provide their own informational assistance to their clientele or to potential clientele that may not know that they exist and wouldn't have to patronize their services except that the pandemic is ongoing. So I sent out a note, and I've got a few interesting responses from people. Penny sent me something that she built for Boone County that included, of note, the city of Boone's treasure hunt. So the bears that they've been putting out and different things that people can go out and kind of look for in their cars to kind of break the monotony of coronavirus. Also, City of Madison City reached out and showed me what they've been doing in partnership with their um, Chamber of Commerce, and a couple private entities have sent information on what they've done for clients. The culmination of this, I guess the whole idea of this is that we don't really want to redo what other organizations are doing. So, like Evan tested for Casey's, obviously you're updating your websites daily, and Hy-Vee doesn't need any help with their advertising. But what about local community closets or faith-based organizations that are known or may be known by individuals in a community, but may not be known further out of a small town and could serve a larger clientele, or there's a need, but there is not the medium for them to communicate their services. So with that, Patrick and Evan and I developed just a limited data set and a survey that we are planning on sending out here later this week to have individuals volunteer to map these resources for their communities and maintain that data geographically. By geographically, I mean, like I live in the city of Waukee, so I could do Waukee in western Dallas County. Um, just a basic point layer with contact information, hour information, website, telephone number, contact information, that sort of thing. That's the idea in a nutshell at this point in time. Patrick or Evan, do you guys have anything that you'd like to add on that?
This is Evan. Yeah, I think the thing that I really like, yeah, sorry, I wasn't talking to the computer. The thing I liked about this was that it specifically wasn't trying to reinvent the wheel and try and like help out in a situation where, or like provide a missing whole situation where there might be people that need something new that are used to, they don't know the network or they don't existing support system in the community. So as a way for someone who's kind of thrown into a different situation than they're normally found and use it as a resource that way. But at the same time, it's not something that they would necessarily find a comprehensive source on Google or some local place. So Lawrence just said, "Can you speak up?" Am I coming in okay?
No.
Oh, sorry. I have no idea where the microphone is on my computer.
I think it's actually on the bottom. Like,
okay. I've been going back and forth.
Yeah, I don't know where yours is because we have different computers, but.
Okay. The one thing that I really liked was the idea that also you could do someone who doesn't necessarily need support or need some services, but someone who's capable of offering services or donating something. That could be that's an added component to this. So my wife does a lot of different volunteer service or stuff, and one organization that she works with needed devices where people could listen. So either like old iPhones or an old iPad or something like that, where thanks. Well, anyway, just a way where people could use resources to use the same resource to donate. And I'll check out the microphone level, Micah. Thanks.
Yeah, you're getting warmer, so you must be getting closer to it.
Yeah, because in your earbuds, you don't have a mic on your earbuds, do you, Evan?
Sounds like no.
Perfect.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so that's all I had to say. Does anybody have any questions? Or BJ, what kind of help are you looking for? Or what's the next step?
So I think BJ is going to send out the survey I think we should at least start with the board, probably people on this call, just to see what kind of response. And that survey is basically just the extent of the spatial extent of where you could, possibly volunteer, number of hours, per week, whether that's, 1 hour or whatever. You might have to do a little bit of research or calling around, that sort of thing. And then just some basic contact information. And then from there, depending on what kind of response, I think BJ and others probably will get tasked with developing the underlying data structure to do the data collection. And I think it's important to know that this data may not actually show up as public data. It may actually go, be integrated with other state data on a dashboard type things, just to inform leadership and that sort of thing of things where food, food availability that may not be taken care of, in the context of school lunch programs that are actively going on right now. That sort of information is being collected by the Department of Education on a daily basis, along with donation information, school closures, that sort of thing, and childcare stuff. We're trying to fill in some of these gaps of maybe a state agency does not have any oversight, local volunteer, food bank information, meals served, that sort of things that may not be covered other places, and just kind of start off simple. And I think the goal is, if we can get one decent data set out of this, it's a success. We're not trying to change the world or anything, but just trying to figure out where we can fill some of these data gaps. It might be within our own communities.
Hey, Patrick.
Yes.
A couple of questions. One, for the survey, will you guys put please respond by a certain date just to keep things moving quickly? And then two, there's going to be a place where this information can live, so that if something like this happens again in the fall, as what's been predicted, we aren't starting from scratch again?
Probably the data so ESRI donated a ArcGIS Online for organization license for this to be aggregated under, and there are 100 licenses for that to happen. That data can be, because I own that org, I can transfer that org information to the state site if needed, temporarily, and then we can figure out at some point whether or not this is something that needs to continue or not, and possibly extend that org license for a longer length of time. So yes.
Awesome.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Don't forget, coming soon. Thank you.
All right, great. Thanks. Patrick, are there other states that are doing anything like that? Do you know? Or BJ?
I have no idea. I would imagine that somebody probably is.
I've been contacted by people in other states that want to piggyback off what we're doing. So we may be the first, at least in this region, to start this type of project.
Okay, that's good news.
The Magic Listserv might be a good feeler to put out, BJ, on there. Are you doing something like this in your, a simple like that and thing like that, and see what you get back.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about magic, but I'll probably ping them, see what we can
Well,
talk about.
I just thought of it because you said regional, and as soon as I hear regional in conjunction with GIS, of course, I think magic. You know, I'm IGIC, magic, NISJIC. So
Okay.
And I have not seen anything on the NISJIC lists that I'm on related to this, so that doesn't mean it's not happening. No.
right, I haven't seen anything there, but I think things would be happening more on a much more local area, and I just thought for regional things that, you know, maybe Fayetteville, Arkansas is doing something or whatever, and that would be someone on the magic list could tell you that, I think.
Any more questions for BJ or Patrick about the volunteer project or COVID volunteer response?
Just that it sounds wonderful. Good job, guys.
I just need people to help out.
Right.
Okay.
I'd recommend if volunteer participation is minimal, you kind of piggyback and ask the board to help out more. But I'm assuming everyone will want to volunteer because it's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. Put together, it'd be good to advertise a needs list, and that way people that have different resources or different types of talents can, plug in where the best fit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. We're going to keep that how to stay sane during COVID-19 at the end. Any other updates? I think there was a state map or a state education. I don't forget the name of the project. Update.
Are you talking about the Iowa map contest?
There you go. There you go. That's the one.
Okay. This is Debbie. And I had 8 schools this year interested, and only 2 are still going to carry on now that they're all out of, face-to-face contact. So the 2 schools that are still in the running are the Waukee schools with Carly McKibben, and I believe Evan was the mentor last year. Are you still mentoring?
No, Nate Brown is the new.
Okay. So Nate Brown, I'll set down that name. And then
GIS coordinator at Waukee.
Oh, okay. Well, excellent. And then Pella Schools, Kristen Schultz is the teacher, and Jody Flory is the one that went and visited with them and is mentoring them.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we have 2 geo mentors then still going, and schools are trying to do it, kind of remotely. And I think Waukee really has a grasp of it. And Jody is helping as much as she can. She even went in and made a presentation at the school. So before this all broke down so much. So she was just ahead of the game there. So we'll see. I'm going to be sending all the spreadsheets that they have to fill out now that I have the actual participants, and we'll see what happens. The new story map template that they released, I guess since last summer sometime, is fairly user-friendly. So I believe they'll do pretty well. And then I also have offered to, I do a lot of emails between them when they have questions, but I also said we could do a Zoom meeting or whatever. So whatever helps their students and lets them continue on with this. So we'll see what happens, and I'll keep you up to date. I do have one other just kind of information bite for you. I'm part of, with our area here, our city and our county, an AmeriCorps, Green Iowa AmeriCorps group. And we have a lot of AmeriCorps coordinators and service members who have been shut out of the outreach that we used to do in schools and things like that. And so they have been granted the opportunity to do service hours, helping with maybe ecumenical cupboards, food cupboards, things like that, because some of them are actually sheltering at home now. They're not in the areas where they're working, so they're all over the state, basically. So if you have some volunteer things that you would like to have help with, that our service members for AmeriCorps could also help with, we have them all over the place, and they do not want to lose their stipend for their monthly stipend for their hours, or their final stipend for the education if they complete their hours. And so AmeriCorps nationwide has relaxed, even if they're not doing land and water stewardship, if that's what they're in, or sustainable schools, they still can help with processes and with service hours for community needs. So just a thought, if you need some young and very enthusiastic volunteers across the state somewhere, I can help set you up and try to find those volunteers for you. Thanks.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Oh, I was reading. There's quite a few. Roger in the.
Way to go, Roger. Yeah.
Any other conference updates? I think this will be kind of a short. I didn't put too many on here. Conference updates or regional group information.
Okay, well, for now, Magic has, our alternative dates are in August, and people continue registering every day. We've had some people cancel. I'm assuming that, who had already registered for April. I'm assuming that it's because they can't be there in August. I haven't seen any cancellations from any of the exhibitors, or as far as I know, presentations. That's all still going forward. So all of that's in August. I don't know all the details. I'm not very caught up. My emails are back to about March 12th. The one thing I do want to bring up, though, is if anyone wants to apply for the grant, we do have $500 available to each state, and we've always had this in the past too, that people can apply maybe for $125 to go towards a short course or something like that. And because I'm not caught up with my emails, I don't know. Patrick, did you send something like that out to the state? To the IGIC list or anything?
No.
Okay. Okay, so if everyone can keep that in mind, I'll try to get that out. Unless you were planning on doing it, Patrick, I can get that form out on the IGIC list at least by the beginning of next week. So that's all I have for the magic stuff.
Okay, thanks, Paula.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming no Eastern Iowa updates or CHOW updates, since most people are housebound.
I've heard nothing from Eastern Iowa.
Okay. I think that's the end of that agenda topic. So for kind of a light-hearted way for us all to stay sane, if there are any sort of how to stay sane during COVID tips or things that you've to make stay working from home a little bit easier or more productive. Anyone who has some tips or tricks. Roger added a bunch of things in the comment section or the chat section if you want to read through those. Sounds like he's doing some homeschooling and having some trouble.
I really enjoyed the classified ad. Puns are my
I
favorite.
think
Thank
that
you, Roger.
I'm already a good cook, but I my bar isn't stocked enough to become a problem.
Yeah, working from home isn't quite normal for me. So I've been working from a counter in my kitchen while my wife's in the more formal study area. But I think getting up and moving around has been a big help for me, which is normal. Normally, I like to do that at work every half an hour to 45 minutes just to move and stretch a little bit. But here I've been doing it quite a bit. And I'm not sure if I'll be able to go back to working in actual shoes instead of slippers when I get to go back to work.
We have work slippers. It counts.
I've never seen them.
Oh, we have people that have work slippers.
Well, in that case, I won't have to adjust. Good.
We'll have better food when we all go back, but at least Casey's employees will.
Yeah, our cafeteria's being remodeled. It was supposed to open up in March, wasn't it, Carrie?
Yeah, but I had to go in to steal some expo markers so that the kids can trace letters, and because homeschooling and working is also super fun. But and it's almost completely done. So that's really cool. Like the digital signage and everything's all up.
Oh, good.
Thanks, Penny. Great visual image.
Patrick, you've been working from home for a long time. Do you have any tips and tricks?
Oh, let's see. Not really. Just find some routine, whether it's going outside, and mine used to be go walk outside at the coffee shop every day, but that's kind of out of the question at this point. So now I just wander downstairs and make coffee.
There you go.
But do something over lunch or find some routine. Make sure you get up and get dressed, and you don't have to shower every day, obviously, but at least get up and get dressed. Put on a shirt, socks, maybe some pants.
We were told
You're setting the bar pretty high,
Really?
Patrick.
Are you guys all doing this?
we were told by our boss to please video call while laying in our beds. So I recommend don't lay in your bed and go on video conferencing.
That's a good one. And I think, especially for you, Evan, is like find, if you have at least a bar stool or something to do at the counter or something like that, you need to find a place that's not the couch, because your back will be killing you after about a week if it hasn't already. Make yourself a standing desk, or at least something that can sit on top of a countertop that you can use as a standing desk. There's some great plans that are out there on the internet. I made one this weekend super quick in a couple of hours. I don't know.
Yeah, I've definitely been trying to have a workspace that's not too relaxed, and I haven't made it to the yet, which I'm happy about.
Oh.
BJ, you've been working home for a while, haven't you?
Yeah, I think look at us about middle of March.
Have you found anything that makes life a little bit easier working from home?
Well, I haven't been alone because they kicked us out spring break, and then school never came back into session. So it's just me and 7 of my closest roommates, 6 of whom are age 14 and under. So it's never a dull moment. But I would agree with Patrick that you got to keep moving around. The highlight of my day has been leaving the house to go take advantage of the free school lunch program so that my kids can complain about all the fresh fruit and vegetables. And that's been all right. Head to the grocery store every once in a while and try not to drink all the beer.
biggest issue has been that Starbucks is only open from 7 to 3. So when I'm like, oh, I need to go and get a coffee, I have to make sure I do that before 3, which is disappointing.
Roger, does your microphone work? Roger Patoka?
It just unmuted.
Oh, good.
What was your question?
Well, it seems like you have lots of ideas on how to stay sane or how to lose your mind if you're talking to your dog.
I got that from a friend of a friend's sister. So
I think the pets are the ones that are going to have the biggest readjustment when we do go back to quote normal, because we won't be home all the time to give them so much attention.
Oh, that's
there
true.
must be a maximum limit on the amount you can cut and paste to the chat box. So I think that's why it was getting cut off.
Oh. See, everything seems almost normal to me, except that I'm not traveling and I don't get to see my kids. So, other than that, get up, get dressed. Yes, I shower every day. DJ, Adam. I think I hope everyone's using basic. Stay clean. Grow a beard, BJ. Yep.
What, sorry to interrupt, but Anya, do you have Girl Scout cookies?
Of course I do.
Will you will you email me your daughter's link or whatever? I'd love to purchase some.
Oh, these are ones that I purchased from other people, but I can probably see if some of my suppliers still have.
No, you're good because Hy-Vee actually sells them and donates to our local district, or like all that money goes directly to them. But I was like, if anyone is still selling and they need some, one to buy. I have been eating maybe a box every couple days, and so my supply is getting pretty limited.
I usually buy a whole bunch because my GIS lab goes to through 2 or 3 boxes a week. But now we're not having classes on campus anymore, so I have like 6 weeks of Girl Scout cookies sitting in my office.
Just freeze them and bring them out next year. You'll be great.
Oh yeah, I see that. No GIS
Shannon, I would
lab.
send you some, but that requires me going to the post office.
Hey. Yeah, Sean, that would be helpful. Those the lemonades or whatever are phenomenal.
So Carrie, you're one of the people that have kids at home. How are you coping?
Well, yesterday, the 5-year-old slammed his head against end table and has a bruise running from his bottom lip all the way down his neck. And then later last night, the 7-year-old was jumping on the couch, missed the couch, and hit his toe really, really hard. And it may or may not be broken. The last time he's broken something, it took about 4 days for him to admit that it hurt. So, yeah, it's been great. Um, they're getting a lot better at reading. They really like YouTube.
Oh, good.
But yeah, so good times. But
Yeah, I've got a 4 and a 7-year-old nephew and niece, and I try to get the 7-year-old to call. She has an iPad now, and I try to get her to call me to ask or to teach me words in Spanish, but she claims she keeps forgetting. I think she just doesn't want to.
we had an issue with forgetting to be potty trained for a while, which was great. We're back to being potty trained fully, so kindergarten should be a clear shot from now. If hopefully that works out.
All right. Well, we're before our 12 o'clock cutoff. I don't know if anybody else has any ideas they want to present about how to stay sane during COVID, if it's just going for a walk or trying to WebEx as much as possible. Anybody else out there?
I'm preparing for my spring gardening inside, so indoor seed planting and knowing that I'm going to have a place to put them if it ever stops snowing.
Is that Tracy?
Yeah, this is Tracy.
What are you starting, Tracy?
So I have a lot of vegetables and a few flowers that I've got in indoor containers and seed starting environments. So hopefully, if the weather warms up, there'll at least be a little something to do besides sit inside. And I take the dog for a walk too.
Nice. Yeah, I've got a handful of flowers started, but foxgloves are the ones I'm most excited about.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We'll see though. I think I started them too late. If anyone's curious what foxgloves look like, they're very impressive, large flowers, spikes of flowers. But okay. Well, that's if nobody else has any other. Hey, James, is your microphone working?
Yes, it is.
Sounds like you're starting a bunch of plants too.
Well, as part of our science thing for my daughter, we planted a bunch of seeds in used egg cartons. And so we got a bunch of beans and green peppers and tomatoes that she's watching grow, and we're hoping to plant them and put them out outside soon, if it ever stops snowing.
Oh, nice. How much snow did you get up there?
Cool.
We didn't get too much. It's already been melting pretty good. So there's still some there, probably some tomorrow, but it's mostly gone.
Okay. Paula, what were you going to say?
There's a second. I have to type. Okay. There's this really cool thing with for science projects, because a lot of little kids, I guess, they're getting school science projects at home to grow things. And one of them is if you take a little plastic bag, like a sandwich-sized plastic bag, and put just glue or tape, like a popsicle stick on two sides and the bottom, and then put the dirt in there, and you can hang it up, go from like a popsicle stick to the other popsicle stick with a string, so you can hang it on the wall, and then put some soil in there and a couple of seeds. And then not only do you see the plant grow, like from the egg carton or something else, little cups, you also can see what the seed is with the roots. So the root will go down, and you can see the whole thing. And I think kids would be as excited as me to see that kind of stuff. So just an idea there for you.
We've been dissolving the eggshells on raw eggs in vinegar, and that's pretty cool. And the kids have to journal for just something else that takes like 2 minutes of every day, but it does take up room in your fridge. So there's that to keep in mind. But anyway, should we wrap up, Evan, or do you want?
Yeah, I think everybody, it sounds like everybody's good to go.
Okay, cool. I'll motion.
There you go.
Do you need us to motion? I'll motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Who was second?
That was Josh.
Thank you, Josh.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes and meeting is done, and everyone's staying sane. Sounds good. Thanks for participating.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.